One of the comments was, when is the elephant in the room going to get mentioned that with Leinster's public school, private school system and population, it's always going to be hard for the other provinces to compete?
That's from Dara. Your comments are back there. Yeah, it's a good question. It's like that is the thing that I guess we mentioned yesterday, was that there is an element of realising that, I know somebody came back and said Ulster are the second best team in the Pro 14, but at least, you know, feeling that you're the second best team in the Pro 14 like it isn't nothing, you know, like, I mean, it's like, I mean, but there is kind of like something you have to find some sort of consolation with, because you know that this Leinster thing is actually getting bigger. It's not that they're dominant now, there's a sense that they're getting bigger. And like, you listened to Gordon Darcy at the weekend on TV saying that the reason why they managed to close the gap on Munster was that they had a group of perennial underachievers who were actually better players in a lot of areas than Munster. Whereas in this case, there aren't too many areas where you say the Munster player is better than the Leinster equivalent.
No, so there's no quick turnaround for that. The issue about the population size and the school system providing all of the best academy players for Leinster is something that at some point the IRFU are going to look at and go, what do we do here? I mean, obviously you can improve the academy system in Connacht and Ulster and Munster to a level, but it's true that the vast majority of young Irish rugby players are coming through the school system still. Like, despite all of the efforts and the money and the time and investment that they're making in the youths game, the vast majority of players who play for the senior team, the senior national team, have come through that system. I think there's been a couple of games recently where that hasn't been the case, where there were more players who came through the system that hadn't come through the school system. But it's very rare that happens, and it's continuing to be the case in terms of the production line from a Leinster perspective, and it works brilliantly for Leinster. So, you know, why would they interfere with that? But is it automatically the best thing for Ireland that you get all the best young back rows and all the best young scrum halves and all the best young tight heads and all the best young second rows all coming through from a 3-year period together, and they're all going straight into the Leinster Academy? There's that whole kind of idea of the National Academy and players being taken there and then getting farmed out to the provinces. But that then comes back to the whole idea of competitiveness and all that kind of stuff. The Leinster solution isn't the solution for Munster, is the thing. That the private school setup that they have in Leinster is a completely different animal to what they have in Munster. And that's great that Leinster are doing so well, but if Munster are trying to play the same game, which is to recruit through private rugby playing schools, then it's not going to work. It's never going to be able to compete with the private rugby playing schools that exist in Dublin and across the province. The day the club game died in Munster was the day the Munster conveyor belt started to slow. And unless they manage to rediscover an alternative to that or manage to reinvigorate that, they're not going to be able to have the same conveyor belt of talent that Leinster have. Now, part of this reason as well, or part of the reason is what's happening maybe in Limerick City as well, which you mentioned yesterday with the investment in hurling there. But I think at a basic level, when you look at the great Munster team of the 2000s, where did they come through? The club game had the fingerprints all over that team. And once that started to wane away in the national importance, then Munster's talent pool started to become more shallow.